who is the first question from, and what is the
All
first
right.
question?
The first question is from Kestraz, and he asks, "Is Murozond an example of the first Deathwing and a minion of the old gods?"
So this is where we get into very weird timey-wimey stuff, because technically speaking, the answer to that is no. Because Murozond was created long after the creation of Deathwing. Long after the creation of Deathwing. Deathwing, if you don't remember, when Deathwing was created, Nozdormu, which of course is Murozond, was still Nozdormu. Therefore, Murozond has not come into existence yet. But when you start including the timeline BS, then absolutely Murozond is first. In fact, from a time perspective, the argument can be made that Murozond was there at the very beginning of time. Now, I had a theory like a while ago, probably 2-3 months ago, that I'll very quickly recap here because I don't think many people saw the theory. But basically, my argument was that I believe Murozond was the one that drove the Void crazy. So if we look at the Void, and this theory really has a lot of its origins due to our sort of incursions into Warhammer 40k. So for those of you that don't know, I've recently gotten very deep into Warhammer 40k, absolutely fell in love with it. But in Warhammer 40k, they have this area called the Warp. Now, the Warp is effectively considered to be the immaterium, and everything else is the materium. So very similar to the Void in that sense, because everything is considered to be reality, it's considered to be real. Void is the opposite of everything that is real, because Void is emptiness, nothingness, so to speak. So the argument for me there was that what if, from an inspirational standpoint, and we know that World of Warcraft was and is heavily influenced by the Warhammer sort of overarching story, especially when it comes to sort of the god level stuff. There is a lot of influence there, and that god level stuff really permeates throughout Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k. What if the Void was once truly the place where souls went upon death? So the true immaterium. If the Void is the nothingness and the somethingness is reality, then this means that everything that exists in reality will eventually pass into the Void. This also then explains why Yogg-Saron refers to himself as the god of death. Because otherwise, that reference makes very little sense. You're not the god of death. We've been to the lands of death, and you were not there. You were not considered to be a god within the lands of death. So why would you refer to yourself as such? Notwithstanding even your ability to create a creature of decay like Galakrond. How did Yogg-Saron have that ability to create something like Galakrond? All of that is explained if the Void was the original place where souls and death resided, the death of the universe, so to speak, and something corrupted it. So some kind of corruption led to turmoil within this realm, which one could argue came after the creation of all of the cosmological forces, or one could argue that it happened before. Now, for this, we go to the book, the Chronicles, but also, I believe the Grimoire of the Shadowlands also does a pretty reasonable job of this. Well, actually, the best job of this would be the in-game journal, the expedition journal that we found during the Shadowlands, where they're trying to figure out the language of the first ones, and they come across this passage. The passage speaks of one force or two forces in the beginning that then became multiple forces, but the multiple forces only came into existence when they were required to be so. So the exact words, I believe, is when there was a need for more. So when there's a need for more suggests that something happened. Something happened that required 6 forces to come together and either fight the something that happened, stop the something that happened, or maybe halt the something that had happened. And in this regard, my argument is that what if Murozond, at his creation, now the way you need to understand is you look at the timeline as an holistic whole, and you say, right, we have the beginning year, we have the end over year, right? So we have the timeline right here. Murozond, or Nozdormu, was turned into Murozond. Let's say, if this is the end, let's say somewhere here, okay? This is where Nozdormu is turned into Murozond. Now, according to what Nozdormu really did, is the end moved closer, right? Because Nozdormu and the Bronze Dragonflight took all of the timelines and tied them into the end times. So that is the end of the timeline as we know it. It all ends within the timeline. Either Murozond dies or Murozond wins, but that is the end of the timeline. But never mind, for this, let's say for this exercise, the end time doesn't move, so this is the end of time. Nozdormu gets turned into Murozond over here, and this is the whole of the timeline. Well, at the creation of Murozond over here, Murozond would now exist in every other time on this timeline, going as far back as the beginning, but also as far into the future towards the end. So Murozond would now exist in every moment in this timeline at the same time. Because Murozond is Nozdormu, and Nozdormu was given power over the timelines. So Nozdormu can influence the timelines and also travel between these timelines. So it is not inconceivable that Murozond could have been the first, and Murozond actually caused a lot of the problems that we have in our world today. And I say this by looking at what the Infinite Dragonflight wants to achieve. The Infinite Dragonflight, by the way, is Murozond's Dragonflight. They are sort of trying to end every single timeline that we know of. So they're bringing an end to all of these timelines, and the idea behind it is that when there is just one timeline left, and they then kill all of the aspects, Murozond will be the only aspect left. That's the goal. Because right now the problem is, if they were to kill an aspect, that aspect still exists in all of the other timelines, and so they would have to kill the same aspect over and over and over again. Whereas if they can just destroy all of the timelines, they can basically make it that they only have to kill one aspect, and that gives them Murozond being the true aspect of everything. This then, in order to understand why this could have led to the corruption of the Void, we have to look at the Old Gods, because the Old Gods is the best information that we have on the Void. The Old Gods are said to see every single truth, right? They see 1,000 truths, and they believe in 1,000 truths. This could be considered timelines. The reason the Old Gods are said to consider all timelines, all truths, is because they see all timelines, and unlike the light that only views the single timeline, which Amanthul and the Titans also view as the correct timeline, our timeline, it's the sacred timeline, and the light views only the sacred timeline as the true timeline, the Void instead views all timelines as sacred. It's all of it is true, because it doesn't matter in which one of the timelines the Void wins, as long as they win at the end of the day, that still leads to victory overall. And for Murozond to destroy these timelines, Murozond is effectively destroying the truths of the Old Gods, if that makes sense. And that would lead to, I guess you could say, corruption within the Void and within the Void Lords, as they see their truths being destroyed by Murozond, and this leads them to sort of craziness and this is where the void then becomes the enemy of all, as it's referred to consistently by many others. But of course, the void has their own enemy of all, of which we don't know who that is. But we know that the void also believes that there is an enemy of all. So the question really is twofold. On the one hand, yes, through very convoluted storytelling, Murozond could be the original Deathwing. But on the other hand, no, because Deathwing was before Murozond, if that makes sense. I hope that answers the question. Because I know it's confusing, but that's really the best I can do with this one. But I do thank you for the question, by the way.
Yeah, in a way, Murozond could be like in his own madness, a unwitting pawn of the old gods. Like they could see him like taking out these timelines and freaking out, and I don't know, just pick one of them. Cthulhu or N'Zoth is like, we could use this to our advantage.
I will say though, Moni, I've been asked to tell you by people in chat they don't like your accent when it comes to saying Murozond, because it sounds like you're saying Murozond without the N, and people get triggered by it. So I'll ask you, or I'll tell you here, for the sake of the internet, right, and the sanity of people that can't move on from small stupid shit, because it really is stupid. If you get triggered by someone saying a name different to you, you're a fucking moron. But it doesn't matter. It's Murozond with an N. Make sure that you fucking push the N so that people can stop complaining and being like, oh my god, he's saying Murozond even though it's Murozond. Anyways, I just wanted to tell you that so that the people
next thing you get pissed at me because I say washcloth.
I have no idea what people get angry of. But, I mean, it happens to me all the time as well, because I pronounce things different to what they wanted pronounced as. And then that's a massive problem. But, yeah, anyways.
Oh, no, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. So, I hope that answers everyone's question about Murozond and exactly what Murozond is or isn't. The truth is, very little of this character in World of Warcraft is known. All we really know about Murozond is what the dragon aspects tell us, and also that he is Nozdormu, or was Nozdormu. But that's literally it. Outside of that, we've only really dealt with Murozond once in the Endtime dungeon. And then, during the Chromie questlines, we dealt with some of his flight. So yeah, hopefully we get a lot more of Murozond. And maybe even a little bit more deep dive into Murozond. But I do appreciate the question nevertheless.